Does your business ever feel like it's just stuck on a treadmill of chaos? You're not alone. In this explainer, we're going to unpack a really powerful framework that's designed to help you cut through all that noise, find the real problems, and finally start making some real progress.
So, does this sound familiar? You're constantly reacting. You're scrambling from one fire to the next, and it just feels like you never get ahead. Well, that state of constant reactive motion, that's what we're calling business chaos.
And a huge symptom of this chaos is something the source material calls magical thinking. You know what this is, right? It's that classic sign that something much deeper is broken. It's that moment when you just set a deadline based on hope, not on what your team can actually do.
And that kind of thinking, well, it leads to all the stuff we hate. That constant reactive scrambling, what's called an addiction to urgency, where suddenly everything is priority number one, the absolute spreadsheet hell of disconnected data, and of course, just endless firefighting. But here's the key. You have to understand that these are not the real problems, they are just the symptoms. And that brings us to the absolute core idea of this whole thing. Getting the critical difference between the symptoms you see every day and the root causes that are lurking just beneath the surface. It's really the difference between treating a fever and actually curing the infection that's causing it.
Okay, so let's look at how this actually works. You see the symptom of missed deadlines. That's the fever, right? But the real infection, maybe it's because you don't have anyone in a dedicated project manager seat, or maybe you're tolerating a toxic high performer. The root cause there is probably conflict avoidance from the leadership. See? This framework forces you to connect the what to the why.
So the takeaway is pretty clear. If you want to escape the chaos, you have to stop putting band-aids on the symptoms and start diagnosing the real illness. So how do we do that? Well, you need a proper diagnostic tool.
And this source material gives us this awesome tool, using a really powerful metaphor: your business as a jet. The idea is that every business has 4 core systems, and these systems determine whether you fly smoothly or if you're just headed for a whole lot of turbulence.
And these are the 4 pillars that cover literally every part of your organization: directional mastery, collective flourishing, foundational fortitude, and process ingenuity. Let's just quickly break down what each of these means.
First up, we've got directional mastery. Think of this as your flight plan. It's the big picture stuff, asking the really big questions. Is our vision clear? Is our strategy to get there actually realistic? And maybe most importantly, is everyone, from the top all the way to the front lines, actually flying in the same direction?
Next, there's collective flourishing. So if the first pillar is the flight plan, this one is your flight crew. It's all about the people, your company culture, how you develop talent, your leadership. Do you have the right people in the right seats all working together to actually get you where you're trying to go? Then we have foundational fortitude. Think of this as the structure of the jet itself, the fuselage, the wings. Is the business financially sound? Are your core systems for things like data and managing risk solid? This pillar is all about making sure the plane can actually handle the journey without falling apart midair. And finally, there's process ingenuity. You guessed it, these are the engines of the jet. This pillar looks right at the heart of how you deliver value. How efficient are your operations? Is your technology helping you or holding you back? And do you have a real capacity to innovate? This is what gives you thrust and propels you forward. Okay, so we've got our 4 pillars. That's great. But how do they actually help you diagnose a problem? Let's walk through a real-world example to see exactly how this framework can uncover those hidden root causes. Let's take something like talent acquisition. At level 1, the chaotic level, the symptom is post and pray hiring. You just throw a job posting out there and hope for the best. The framework shows us the root cause is usually desperation, or what's called warm body syndrome, where you'll just hire anyone to fill a seat. But as the business matures, the symptom changes to, say, unstructured interviews. And the root cause for that? It shifts to leaders just relying on their gut feeling. You can literally see the evolution from a surface problem to the deeper behavior that's driving it. So, this is the whole point. The crucial thing is that this framework gives you a clear line of sight. It connects the pain you feel every single day to the leadership behavior or the system gap that is actually causing it. And once you can see that connection, you're not in the dark anymore. You've got a clear path forward. The whole goal is to move your entire organization from that state of chaos to a state of being truly optimized. This whole improvement journey follows a 5-level maturity model. You start at level 1, chaotic, where, everything is ad hoc and pretty unpredictable. From there you move through emerging and defined, where processes start to take shape, and then on to managed, where you're actually measuring them. The ultimate goal, of course, is level 5, optimized, a state where your operations are just world-class and basically run themselves.
And this is not about some single big push. The real power here is in using this model to assess every single part of your business. You might find your marketing is defined, but your operations are still totally chaotic. The goal is to systematically move every single competency within all 4 of those pillars along this curve.
And this just shows you how comprehensive this whole thing is. Within those 4 pillars we talked about, there are 20 core business competencies in total. That's 5 for each pillar. It covers everything from your highest level strategy all the way down to your daily operations. It really is a blueprint for building a strong, resilient organization.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Think about the daily fires and frustrations in your own business. Using this new lens of symptoms versus root causes, what chaotic issue that you deal with all the time might be pointing to a much deeper problem that you just haven't seen before?